Angie. Thank you very much for coming in today.
You're welcome.
So we're just going to ask you a few questions, and the first one is, when you were growing up, what made you want to do radio? Did you always think from a little girl that you wanted to do radio?
I can't ever remember thinking that I wanted to be a radio presenter. What I can remember doing is getting cassettes. Do you know what a cassette is? Because you're younger.
I remember that.
I will always remember getting cassettes and recording off of the radio, and just talking about those songs. And I wonder if that's where it started. I'll always remember at secondary school, in the language labs, when I was meant to be doing French, I was pretending to be an American DJ, and always getting in trouble. And I just wonder if the bug started there. But to sit down and say, when I was 7 or 8 or 9, Mum, I want to be a radio presenter, never ever ever had that conversation.
What was kind of like your upbringing background?
Well, my parents are from Barbados, so I'm a first-born British Caribbean. My dad worked in engineering. My mum came here to do nursing, but ended up working in the civil service. Very articulate, my dad is. He talks like he's eaten a dictionary. My mum's more fiery, so I'm a mix of these two people. And yeah, they always pushed me to get a good education, which I didn't always like to hear because I was having too much fun. But I'm glad I did get an education, and I'm also glad that I had fun as well, because I think I had a good balance. I think I had the best of both worlds.
You mentioned like the tapes and things like that. What kind of music did you listen to when you were younger and as you were growing up before you got into the industry?
Well, in our house it was always soca, reggae and gospel, and it was always music that my dad would have sent up from Barbados. Sunday mornings it was always Jim Reeves or Ray Charles before church. And then it was the top 40. It was radio as we know it today.
So you did listen to it when you were growing up. It wasn't just something you jumped into.
No, there was always music playing in our house. If the radio wasn't on, there was always the gram. The gram was always on. Yeah.
So, well, I suppose it leads on to saying, how did you get into the industry? What finally got you in there? Your foot in the door.
I was temping at the time for an organisation, and I wasn't very happy. I was looking through an industry magazine, and I saw an advert for an agency, and my plan was just to work for a year, accumulate some money and go to teacher training college. And the agency that I went to, it was called Adventure. It was a lady called Gillian that ran it, and she used to get temps from Australia, and they used to come and work here. Called her up, told her I wasn't happy where I was. She said, come and see me, and we had a chat, and she just said, look, I'm going to tell you exactly where I'm sending you. And that was never ever the case at the time. They would give you the job description and say, is this something you think you'd like to do? And you'd go yes, and then they'd say, well, this is the company, this is who you asked for. And she said to me, there's a job going at Capital Radio for the assistant to the head of personnel. Do you want to go and see her? And I went, yeah, all right.
Wow, you make it sound so easy. Was it really that easy?
Because the bug hadn't bitten me, and because my mission was just to go and work, to make some money, to go to teacher training college, it didn't matter where it was. So I just went, yeah, I'll go and see the woman. We had a chat. She said, fine, I'd like to give you the job. This is when you start. This is your salary. Off you go. And in my mind, I was thinking, I'll be out of here this time next year because I'm going to be a school teacher.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then it completely changed your life.
2 years down the line, I pinched myself and said, hang on a minute, you're not meant to be here. You said you were going to leave after a year. The bug bit me.
Are you really glad that it did then?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think that I could have been a school teacher in a classroom with students, but one of the things I really do want to do now is teach radio. So that the teaching dream will come back.
You get the best of everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
So obviously you've said you've worked in the BBC, you've worked in commercial, and now you're working at Magic FM. What do you do in your job? What does it include day to day?
Well, I do the afternoon show, and I consider myself really, really lucky because when I first went to Magic, it was doing 3 shows a week, Mellow Magic. Then I got moved to Drive, and I consider myself so lucky because when my girls were growing up, I've got a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old, I've been doing drive time for 5 years, and I just said to my boss, look, I'm loving this, but my girls are growing up and I need to be home. I was getting home 9 o'clock at night, and you know, he hummed and he hawed and he hummed and he hawed, and then they just said, yeah, we'll put you on 2 till 5. They could have easily said, listen, you don't want to work here anymore, there's loads of people that do. So I consider myself, I don't know if the word is lucky, I don't know if the word is blessed, I don't know, but I'm still there and it's great. I can be here talking to you, teaching. I will leave 12:30, go to work. I then work 2 till 5, and then I'm home by 6. I think that's a real good day.
Sounds pretty ideal.
And that's talking that, you know, that's having the best of both worlds. So I'll go in, and I will go through my playlist. I will look at the artists that I'm going to be playing, but I'll also go through magazines, newspapers, Google, and see what a lot of these artists are doing, so that there's content in the show. So, you know, we can all get caught in the trap of saying that was, this is, the time is, my name is, and you're listening to. But I think people who choose to tune into you, they want to hear more than that. They might want to hear that you like Scandal, or you don't like Danny Dyer on EastEnders, or you think that Nick Cotton should really, you know, they want to engage with you and the things that you do. And I think it's really important to be human on the radio. I think it's important to talk about the fact that I couldn't find my eyeliner this morning and it was in my daughter's makeup bag, and because, you know, these things happen. Bought a pair of shoes, the heels were too high, why did I do it? And, you know, let's be human as we get people through their working day, because that's what you're doing. You're keeping people company as they're in the office, in school, in college, in the shop, lorry drivers. You know, you want people to engage with you. So I think it's really important to find at least 2 stories an hour. You might not use both of them, but just to tell people stories and engage, make them laugh, make them smile, make them think.
Yeah, it sounds awesome what you're doing, and obviously you're the first woman to work in London on the drive time show.
I know.
What's that like? Is it a real honour?
Oh my goodness. I can remember a very significant, very well-known radio man. His name's Mark Story, and he called me into a meeting one day. I was covering someone in the afternoon, and he said to me in this most beautiful Irish accent, which I won't attempt, he said, I think you'd sound great on Drive. And I said, women don't do drive time. And he said, but you do, and you will, and you'll be good. And I'll be like, no. But, you know, he just said, look, give it a shot. And 3 radios down the line, we were market leading.
That's really inspiring, because obviously most of us are girls on this course,
Yeah.
and so it kind of shows that you can do anything
There's
if you
nothing
try.
you can't do. And I will say that that's something I used to say a lot. Oh, you can do anything. And it was a cliche, but I'll be totally honest and say, in doing drive time on Magic, #1 station in London, and getting the highest figures and becoming the most listened to drive presenter in London, sometimes having higher figures than the drive show on Radio 1 and Radio 2, I now believe you can do anything if you love it, and if your heart's in it, people will hear that and they'll engage with you and they'll listen.
Congratulations, that's
Thank you.
amazing. So I could only aspire to do one day. Do you still get nervous, because if you've got such a massive audience, do you get nervous when you're going to go on air?
Yeah.
What do you do to calm yourself?
Well, there was a really interesting saying, I think it was by Sarah Jessica Parker, and she said, if you don't get nervous, it means you don't care anymore. And I think if I was just to walk into the studio at 5 to 2, blasé, open the mic, then I've lost my love for what I'm doing. So why should anybody listen? If I can't be bothered to put the effort in and think, right, I'm going to talk to Shirley, who's in the office, who's a little bit fed up today, and I'm going to talk to Bob, who's the taxi driver, and I'm going to talk to the lorry driver, the shop assistant. You know, I think it's important to talk to your audience. I was once told when I was at LBC, my editor there was a gentleman called Scott Solder, and he said, when you're on the radio, what you need to do is imagine that you're at a dinner party and you're at the head of the table and you're just talking to people around the table, and in between the courses you're playing a few songs.
That is really good advice. I'll think about that more when I get more into it. So, I mean, you've kind of given us quite a lot of advice. Is there any other advice you can give to us as upcoming radio producers, presenters, editors, that how we can get into the industry, how we can be the best?
First and foremost, I would say you're very lucky to be doing a course. I don't know what a course is. And you're getting to learn a lot of the tools of radio before you actually go into a radio station. The best way to do it is to do it. So you really do need to start going onto websites. I know media, oh goodness, there's a website, I will remember the name of it, where you can find out all the program controllers, all the editors, all the breakfast producers, etc., and email these people, get to know them. You don't have to send demo tapes out anymore. Send your links out, do your little demos, send the links out to people, network. That is such an important part of getting into the industry. A large percentage of decisions are not made around the boardroom table. A large percentage of decisions are made at networking events, at drinks. Sheila and I are members of an organisation called Sound Women. The most amazing amount of networking takes place there. So, and don't be afraid when you do go to a networking event. If you see someone that you recognise, don't be afraid to go up to them and just say, listen, I listen to you, I admire you, I'd like some help. Look, they'll either say yes, not right now, or no. If they say no, the chances are you've caught them at a wrong time. It's very unlikely that if you go up to a radio presenter or a producer whose work you followed and has said, listen, I'd like some advice, it's very unlikely they're going to go, sorry, no, I'm not going to give you any. The chances are you will get an email address, you will get a phone number, you will either get yes or yes, but not now. But always keep in contact. Network, call radio stations, go on websites, and just really, really get yourself out there. And don't stop till you get what you want.
Would you say like a good way into it is by going through work experience at smaller stations, and then if you've said you've done that, then they might think you've had loads of experience, so you'd be better for the bigger ones one day?
Work experience is definitely a good foot in. I think that, I mean, there are a few radio presenters I know that decided, they were going to get themselves in there and work for free. Nothing wrong in that, but you must have a time limit for which you're going to work for free. You must put a value on yourself at some point, because if you work for free and make it known you like working for free, you will be working for free, and everybody needs to earn.
But that working for free might eventually get you your dream job.
Absolutely.
Right?
So set a goal. So say, right, I'm living at home with mum and dad. I'm going to work for free or for travel expenses for a minimum of 6 months and a maximum of a year. And in that time, set a goal. Set a goal that you want to become a production assistant, or you want to shadow a producer, or you want to work in S&P, you want to do some technical stuff. Set a goal in that time.
So all about time bound, setting goals, and eventually maybe you might get lucky.
You will.
You will.
Don't say maybe. Absolutely, be positive. Be positive.
So you mentioned Sound Women. How did you get into that? What do you do within that?
Sound Women is a brilliant organisation that was set up by Maria Williams, who actually works for the BBC, and men are members of Sound Women, and I really need to emphasise that. The other thing I want to emphasise is that we're not having meetings and man bashing and saying, it's about time the men open the doors and let us do this. We bring to the table what we bring as females, and it complements what men do. yes, it is a very top heavy male industry. So what we bring complements the industry, and I think a lot more men in the industry are coming round to that, and I think that's really important. And I think because of the approach of Maria and the board of Sound Women, I think that's actually opened up more doors for men to see that as we walk through, we're not walking in and going, right, where's my seat? I'm doing, you know, we're bringing our expertise to the table. And I'm a patron of Sound Women, and I'm really, really proud.
What do you have to do when you're the patron?
Come to events like this, go to Sound Women events, I answer emails, I talk to, you know, people that tweet me. You know, you just give your time, give your all, and just encourage women, and be like the mascot, if that makes sense, and just be there.
We need to get you out a big outfit, like when I think of mascot, like a football mascot.
You know, my big headphones, but you know, be there for women that want to get into radio and give them the belief. And you know, there are many, many different facets of radio. Today we've talked about producing and presenting. There's script writing, there's sponsorship and promotions, there's advertising. You might actually want to be a program controller, a content director. You know, there's so much to it. And it's all these jobs that, when they're weaved together, make a radio station successful, when people all work together. If everybody wants to be a presenter, then that means an area is going to be lacking in production. If everybody wants to be a producer, then how do we get some S&P? How do we make money for the commercial radio stations? You know, there's so much that goes on in this industry, and it's the best medium. It really is. Print, I don't think print's dying, but I do think print is falling down the scale as online and digital takes over. TV, love TV, but we always see polish, don't we? If that didn't look good, we'll take it again. Oh no, can you do that line again? Oh, I had a hair in my eye, can I do that? Radio's just radio. You make a mistake, do you know what? Carry on.
I like when people make mistakes. Yeah, it shows they're human, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think, because you were mentioning of women, do you think there's ever going to be the 50-50 balance where equal men have the jobs as the women? Do you think that's going to be the future?
I would like to believe that. But I was asked this question actually a few weeks ago, and I took it back to a marriage. Oh gosh. Women, please don't box me down when you see me. As much as I'd like to believe that a marriage is 50-50, I think there always has to be a leader in everything, and there always has to be a follower. Now, the leader in someone's marriage might be the female. The leader in another marriage might be the male. I do believe that a good balance is definitely required. Whether that balance is going to be 50-50, I don't know. I really don't know. There's a great line in the film My Big Fat Greek Wedding where the daughter wants to marry a man that isn't Greek, and she is talking to her mum, and her mum says, don't worry, I'll get it sorted. The man might be the head of the house, but the woman is the neck, and she can turn his head in any direction that she wants. And the reason I say that is I think women, as well as being the heartbeat of the home, I think if I'm going to look at women in radio, I'd like to be a neck. I'd like to turn some program controllers' heads. So that's how I see that. I think it takes very special skills for a woman to be at the head of a radio station, to be the program controller, the main editor. And that's not because I think women are weak. I think women are very, very strong. But I think that there are a different set of skills that are required for a woman than a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why I like being the neck.
Aim to be the neck in life.
Amen.
I'll remember that. I'll definitely remember that. So is there anything else that you could, apart from the amazing advice you've already given to any of us, whatever position we want to do, whether it's in radio or TV, about just getting our stuff out there, social media, how do we do it?
set your goal. If you're going to work for free, if you find that you're offered a placement and it means working for free, take it, but give yourself a time limit in doing so. Utilise social media. When social media first burst onto the scene, I think a lot of old school media people were quite taken aback. But utilise social media and make it work for you. Don't abuse it. Do work experience. Network. Go to meetings, go to events, and let your passion shine through. Really let your passion for whatever area of the media you want to be in, let that shine through.
Thank you.
I'm gonna kick my feet up, then stare at the fan. Turn the TV on, throw my hand in my pants. Nobody's gonna tell me I can't. No, I'll be lounging on the couch, just chilling in my Snuggie. Click to MTV so they can teach me how to Dougie. 'Cause in my castle